you are the founder of your company, and a big part of its story. People like to buy from people, and they want to know more about you, your journey, your why. It's something that you want to show up with on your social media, your website, your podcast, anywhere you're trying to connect with your audience. Your story matters, and it's important to craft it from the start in an intentional way that really makes sense with your brand and attracts those perfect clients. So take some time and think about why you're building your company. What do you want to accomplish on a grander scale? And what you hope it brings to the world. Who are you serving? Why are they important to you? How is your journey relevant? What parts of your life and your journey are going to connect with, inspire, or entertain your audience? Now, for some of us, it's uncomfortable to step out into the spotlight, but I promise you, your story will help connect you with your ideal audience. So you want to get uncomfortable, put yourself out there, and see what happens. And the first, most basic piece of your story that you need to construct is your bio. You're going to use this in your site, in interviews, in PR, anywhere you get publicity. So here's the secret with your bio. You want to keep it short, no more than a paragraph or two, and you want to highlight your accomplishments that are relevant to the business, that are also going to help the reader understand what's in it for them. Because although this is your story that we're telling, it also needs to be relevant to the customer, the client, the prospect, because they really need to be able to see themselves in it and what's in it for them, right? So you want to keep that in mind through all of your storytelling. You want to have some personal notes in there that really help connect the reader to you and make them feel like they know you. So some ideas to get you started on, potentially things that you could touch on to get into your bio. What are the top 3 things on your bucket list? What's the biggest risk you've ever taken? What keeps you up at night? What sparked the idea or the desire to create your business? That's a great one to connect it back. What's your big why that drives you? Who are you serving and why is that important to you? It's a great way to let them see themselves in the bio. What impact do you want to create? What struggle did you go through to get where you are? And what makes your business unique? Now, you don't want to put all of those things in your bio, but those are some ideas to get you started if you're stuck and you're like, I have no idea what interesting things to put in my bio. Okay, so that's what you want to start with. Start with your bio, a paragraph or 2. The next thing you want to look at is your story. So now you have a short professional bio. You want to dig a little deeper here and you want to write out your story. And everybody should have a polished personal story that you can tell at a moment's notice. You want to tell your story and tell it often. So if your first thought was, I don't have a story, as I said, you absolutely do. You probably have several. So a little secret to figuring out what your story is to look back through your life for the moments where you would say, and that's when I realized. This is a tip from Shelley Varela, storyteller extraordinaire, and it's genius because that's the pivotal moment. No matter how big or seemingly small that moment was, it's a moment that you learn something that you can share and you can build a story around. So go back through your life, and especially if you remember something from when you were a child, it was clearly an important moment and there's a lesson there to be learned. So you look back through your life for moments where you would say, and that's when I realized. And that's a story. And remember, your mess is your message. People connect to your messes, not the perfect version of your life. That's how they see themselves in your story. And then your story becomes the bridge to possibility and makes them believe they can create the same transformation that you did when they use your product or service. So your story isn't really about you, it's about them. So get vulnerable and share your messy story. And I really suggest you have a few versions of your story. So the shortest will be almost an elevator pitch style. And that's going to be just a few sentences that gets the listener intrigued and gets them asking questions to find out more. So you don't want to pack everything that you've ever done into 2 sentences. You really want to just use those 2 sentences to give them a little taste and get them to ask for more information. The second story you want to have is a longer version. So when you have a bit more time in an interview or a conversation and you want to give a quick overview of why you do what you do. And then the third is a fully crafted story that's designed to really draw the listener in and take them on the journey with you. And while we're talking about story, I want to touch on something else that a lot of women entrepreneurs have trouble with, and that's putting their face out there, showing their face, being the face of their brand. So you represent your brand. It's important to have photos of yourself that you are proud to use in your PR efforts, your marketing, your website, your social media. I can't tell you how many times, because we also have She Corporated magazine and we have the podcast. So we're featuring women founders all the time at She Corporated. And I am constantly surprised, which I shouldn't be, I guess, but I'm always surprised by how many of these amazing professional women that don't have a headshot. They do not have a decent photo of themselves. You know, they'll send me a picture and it's all dark and there's kind of like they're in a car or something, and you know, of course, you're not going to want to use that a lot if you're not proud of it and if you don't feel good about it, right? So you want to make sure that you have a professional headshot. And if you don't have one, you are going to have all sorts of opportunities that pass you by because you need to have one for a lot of the publicity that you're going to try and get. So you're a huge part of your brand story. At the very least, you need to have a professional headshot. If your budget allows, you should consider getting some more casual kind of lifestyle type photos taken by a brand photographer. If you absolutely cannot fit a professional headshot into the budget right now, totally fine. Understand that, especially if you're just getting started. But get someone to take a photo of you instead of a selfie with good lighting. A great little hack for this is if you actually face a window when the sun isn't shining right through the window, because that's not going to help you, but just face a window and it gives you really nice diffused lighting. And then you can upload that image to, excuse me, to Canva. And then you can drop out the background and you can replace the background of wherever you took that picture with a professional background, like an office setting or a blurred outdoor background or something like that. I actually did that during the pandemic when I needed some new headshots and of course couldn't get anything done. And I did exactly that. Took a picture in front of looking out a window and then put it in Canva, dropped out the background and popped in a new background. So, and that's free. You can do that for free, but you really need to do it. You need to have something that at least looks like a professional headshot. If you can swing a professional headshot, do it. And if you have the budget, go for some lifestyle photos too. So those are the type of photos that show you doing the work you do or living your life. They capture some of the essence of what your brand is about. So, and a great place to start planning for those lifestyle shots, or if you're not sure what I'm talking about, think through what you might need for photos of yourself for your particular business. So you might want some for the About Us page. You might want profile pictures on your social media, maybe media announcements, downloadable content that you're producing. You might need some photos for, maybe signs or banners for speaking engagements, newsletters, Facebook ads, you know, any of those things that you might want to use them for. And then go through Pinterest and you can just search like lifestyle photos or personal branding photos, and you can start collecting images that you like for reference, and then you can share those with your photographer later. So your one step for this week, well, I'm going to give you 2 steps. One step, we'll start with one step. One step for this week, because this is One Step Empire, of course, is to take some time to sit down and think through what your stories might be. So look for those moments when you say, and then I realized, and pull the lesson from that moment, and then decide how to use that story in your business